right, good morning from the Georgia Weather Net. We're just getting things set up for our live stream. We do have an active tornado warning. We'll get to that in just a moment for southwest Georgia. And just getting our feed set up on our social media platforms. Just stand by just a moment and we'll get underway here. The time is 8:23. I'm meteorologist KJ Allen in the 24/7 Storm Center. So here we go. Tornado warning is in effect now. And this is going to be in extreme southwest Georgia. Just getting the latest information on this now in from the National Weather Service. This is for southwestern Early County. This does extend into Houston County, Alabama, but we're concerned mainly with southwestern Early County there in southwest Georgia. This is in effect until 9 o'clock this morning. Doppler radar indicating a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado about 10 miles east of Cottonwood, moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. So slow-moving cell here, and this is a radar-indicated tornado. Possibility of flying debris, dangerous to those caught without shelter. If you are in a car or mobile home, you need to seek substantial shelter right now in the southern portion of Early County. If you know someone in this area, I know it's still kind of early in the morning, 8:24. Make sure you get them up and get them going and in a substantial shelter, tornado-safe place, lowest level, most interior room, away from doors and windows. Now, these cells have been producing tornadoes throughout the morning hours, moving up through Florida into southeast Alabama, now moving into southwest Georgia. And I think we're going to see a continuation of these storms possibly producing tornadoes over the next several hours for southwest Georgia. We do have that tornado watch that's in effect until noon today for a good part of this. And let me go and pull up that map right now and show you what we're looking at. So you can see Albany is in there, Blakely, into Cairo, and down into Decatur County, Lake Seminole, all the way up into the Macon area. A lot of these counties around metro Atlanta have been dropped off of the tornado watch area, but that flood watch remains in effect for that part of the state. So the conditions are favorable for the tornadoes. So we're seeing that right now. Let me just pop back over here. We'll take a look at this radar. This has just a few extra tools that we can look at and see if we can jump into this storm, look for the rotation. And we are seeing some broad rotation now around the Crosby community. Again, that's in Alabama, but that's going to continue to move into the southern portion of Early County here over the next few minutes. So if you know anyone in South Early County, make sure that they are in their tornado-safe place, lowest level, most interior room, away from doors and windows. And we're looking upstream from this as this storm, if it stays together and continues on its path, it's going to be moving into northwest Miller County and then crossing back into Early County. Early County kind of has that upside-down L shape, so moves into the southern part of the county and then could move up closer toward Blakely if the storm holds together. And we'll zoom out and take a look at this line. So you can see this is a very long line of strong to severe thunderstorms. As a matter of fact, we have a warning issued. Our radar from that we're using right now down out of Tallahassee kind of cuts off. So the storms do continue up toward the north. Tell you what, let me flip over to our composite view radar, and this will give you a better sense of what we're looking at. So see, this line continues all the way up into South Carolina. And we had a severe thunderstorm warning up in Washington, Georgia. That's up in the more the northeast corner of the state above Augusta, just to the northwest of Augusta. But that line stretches all the way down now, moving in toward Albany and then into the southwest corner of the state. So that's why we have that tornado warning now in effect for portions of Early County and then back into Houston County, Alabama. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on this and looking at that rotation that does have the concern. So we'll flip back over here and take a look at the zoomed-in picture. And we'll take a look at that velocity. There you go. There's that couplet. It's starting to be a little bit more obvious. It is broadening out just a little bit, just above Crosby, Alabama. But still the concern there, and that's why we have the tornado warning issued. So if you're just joining us, tornado warning is in effect for southwestern Early County until 9 o'clock. The current time is 8:27, and we are seeing that tornado actually out more toward Cottonwood, Alabama. But we're looking at the shear. We've got it right here in the middle of the screen. You can see it right there, just above Crosby. And that is our main concern with this storm as it is now moving into Georgia. So we're starting to see what we call the forward flank downdraft. This is this part of the storm right here in southern Early County. This is going to be the part of the storm we're mainly concerned with. We can see a little bit of a hook here, kind of that comma shape, upside down comma, and that's an indicator that this storm is capable of producing a tornado, and so that's why the National Weather Service has the tornado warning issued. And again, tornado watch, that means conditions are favorable for a tornado, covers this entire area, reaches into Albany, up to Columbus, up into the Macon area, and then all the way near Augusta. So still the possibility of some tornadoes anywhere in this area, and we may get this watch box extended over the next several hours. It's going to be really early this afternoon before this line of storms moves completely out of the state of Georgia. So we may get an extension of this watch, but as for right now, the area in yellow on the screen is going to be covering Macon, Albany, Columbus, Blakely, Cairo, down into Seminole County, and then stretching down into the Florida Panhandle, as well as in southeast Alabama. And that is in effect until noon today. So you just need to make sure that you are prepared for any of these warnings that pop up anywhere throughout the state of Georgia, mainly South Georgia. We're starting to get some pretty stable air in North Georgia above I-20. A lot of rain. That's the concern now, is going to be with flooding. We had reports of over 2 inches of rain in some parts of North Georgia and Northwest Georgia, especially Metro Atlanta with that flood warning in effect, and then the Athens area with a flood warning in effect now. So flooding is a major concern there in the northern part of the state, but the risk of tornadoes is diminishing significantly. But Southwest Georgia, that risk is there. We have very unstable air, and then these storms are going to be moving into that, getting that spin going. And so most of these storms will probably not create a tornado, but we'll see some severe storms out of this, but we will see several of these with the spin. So let's take a look at our latest, look at our velocity. I have a new sweep here. We're still looking at that rotation right above Crosby, Alabama. As this continues to move toward the state line, it's going to be moving toward Highway 84 in southern Early County. And then if it stays on this trajectory, it could be moving into northwest Miller County and then returning back into Early County, possibly passing just south of Blakely. We can see a heavy rainfall near Blakely and then up into Bancroft and looking up more toward the north into Calhoun County. See that heavy rain as well. And then wind is also a big factor. 60-mile-an-hour wind gust easy around Damascus and even starting to move into Miller County right now. Just kind of looking up toward the north into Albany, we do see a line of some strong thunderstorms there as well. And we're looking at potentially 45 to 50-mile-an-hour wind gust in southern Dougherty County, starting to move in the south side of Albany. So that wind is going to pick up, and then the rain's going to move in as well. Let's just kind of take a little peek at our velocity tool. Not really going to get a good view here. May get a little better view out of the Valdosta radar. So we'll let this load up and just see if we have any other concerns of rotation. All right, again, a little muddy here for Albany and Dougherty County, but doesn't look like we have any concerns at the moment. And tell you what, we'll look at Fort Rucker radar, and that should give us a good shot here of this storm crossing out of Alabama, out of Houston County into Early County. And see what we have. It's going to take just a second for that to load up. Here we go. All right, yeah, that couplet is still pretty strong. Take a look at the debris signature. And yeah, that we may possibly have a little bit of debris here. Looking right, let me see how that lines up with the couplet. It's very possible that this could be a light debris signature right here in this area. Let me move this over to the middle of the screen. So this is still in Alabama, still in Houston County, not quite to Early County yet, but maybe a little bit of debris being lofted right there. That is going to line up near the rotation couplet. So we're going to keep an eye on this as it moves in closer to the state line. Again, tornado safe place. If you know anyone in southern Early County, make sure that they are in the lowest level, most interior room, away from doors and windows, and just be advised that the storm holds together. It will continue to cut through the southern portion of Early County, head toward Miller County, and then we'll be kind of watching what happens up toward Blakely, and then possibly up into the Damascus community. Picking up the possibility of hail right here, this triangle showing maybe a half-inch hail. Take a look at that, the hail tool. So this is going to be another concern in that forward portion of the storm. So once we get the hail, you get the heavy rain, you get those strong straight line winds, 60 to 65 mile an hour wind gusts possible there, and then the possibility of a tornado with this storm. So just checking out latest info from the National Weather Service. They've issued a couple more tornado warnings down in Florida. We won't deal with that right now, but we'll keep an eye on that as it gets a little bit closer in. And no additional updates here. We have a special weather statement issued for some of those storms up closer to Albany, but those storms are not of severe magnitude at this time. Let's go back and take a look at the velocity tool. Again, that rotation couplet right here continues to move in closer to Georgia, still inside Alabama right now, but moving in closer to southern Early County. So that's why we have this tornado warning in effect until 9 o'clock. It's 8:34 right now. You are watching the Georgia Weather Net on Facebook and on YouTube. And if you have a moment, click over to our YouTube page and subscribe to the page, and then you can get these warnings anytime, 24 hours a day. It's a busy night last night. We had kind of a lull in the action through the overnight hours, and then some strong thunderstorms moved through the state, moved through metro Atlanta, dumping an enormous amount of rain and causing a lot of problems there. And flooding is going to continue to be a problem there in North Georgia. Let's go ahead and take a look at the big picture, and you can see what we're looking at. Those two green boxes. Actually, we have three now. Another flood warning has been issued, looks like up in Stevens County and Toccoa. So we'll zoom in on all this action here. And we're looking at the composite radar. So that flood warning for metro Atlanta. Understand, we have flooding throughout North Georgia. The reason that these particular areas are highlighted just has to do with a lot of travel concerns, has to do with the population of the area. You know, you get a million people out in their cars around metro Atlanta and you have standing water on the highways. That becomes a serious threat. So that's why we have the flood warning for all of metro Atlanta. And then the additional one was issued for Athens, Oconee County, stretching down into Monroe. And then we see our newest flood warning here issued until 10:30. That's for Stevens County, which covers the city of Toccoa. But flooding is going to be a concern throughout North Georgia. I understand we also have some flood warnings for specific rivers. One near Kingston. That's going to be in Bartow County in northwest Georgia. So we're seeing some flooding on some of those rivers, and we'll continue to see that really through the day today. Even after the rain moves out, that water's going to have to go somewhere. And, of course, the rivers all flow to the south, so flooding is going to be a concern heading down the Oconee River and the other rivers. The Flint River is going to be a concern through Albany as well, as that will continue to build up the water levels over the next several hours and really over the next couple of days. So let's get back to our severe thunderstorm, or correction, our tornado warning. It's a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado down in southwest Georgia, starting to move closer into Early County now. Let's take a look at the velocity tool. Still, that rotation's there. It's fairly broad. This isn't startling. However, we are looking at the possibility of some debris that got lofted here. This is not a real textbook tornado debris signature, but it is, as we go back a few scans, going back about 11 minutes ago at 8:25, there was the possibility of maybe some debris there on the extreme eastern edge of Houston County, Alabama, moving into Early County. So we'll wait word on that to see if we have any tornado damage reports. But as for right now, it looks like that debris signature has faded away. And, well, here's this latest scan showing the couplet has also faded away almost completely as it crossed into Georgia. So that'll be good news for sure. We'll see if we can get this canceled a little bit early. As for right now, the National Weather Service office out of Tallahassee hanging on to this tornado warning. It's set to expire at 9 o'clock. But if we get another scan that looks as calm as this one, we should be in pretty good shape. All right, we have some new information on Tornado Watch, and we're going to get this coming in. So this is going to, this is going to move toward the east. So this is going to move our Tornado Watch area all the way to the Georgia coastline. So we just talked about that a few minutes ago, that the possibility of the tornado watch area. Let me pop up what we currently have. We're not going to have the new counties in yet. It's going to take a little while for that to propagate because this is just coming together now from the Weather Service offices. They all coordinate together with the Storm Prediction Center to put these out. But our current tornado watch area is in the yellow. That it does include Macon. It goes all the way over to Louisville. Down to the south, you have Columbus and Albany. We're going to see some of those counties closer in to the Atlanta area get dropped off, I think, over the next several hours. But the Weather Center and Storm Prediction Center is adding a lot of counties in Georgia to this, and so it's going to take it really all the way to the coastline. So you're looking at the area that's not highlighted in yellow. So east of that, all the way to Savannah, Brunswick, and the Georgia coast, that will be highlighted in yellow shortly as soon as we get the latest information in from the Storm Prediction Center to draw the maps. But that's going to take us until 2 o'clock this afternoon for the latest tornado watch. So conditions are favorable for tornadic activity for all of South Georgia, most of Middle Georgia, until 2 o'clock this afternoon. So we're going to stick around and keep you up to date with the very latest. So let's go ahead and check back with our tornado warned storm that we're keeping an eye on down in Early County. And let's see if we can pull this up here again. We're looking at multiple radar sites. There we go. So this one out of Fort Rucker, Alabama, giving us a really good shot of this storm now moving into Early County. And I'm not seeing the couplet at all. So I think if we can hold like this for just a few more minutes, the Weather Service may give us the all clear. And you can see a portion of that warning polygon has been lifted for Houston County, Alabama, but still remains for the southern portion of Early County. Still picking up the possibility of some hail with this storm, strong straight line winds, and it had a history of spinning up and some rotation, so it could go back to that again. But luckily right now, as of 8:40, we're not showing that couplet at all. So that is hopefully going to be signs that we can get this lifted a little bit early. But I am connected with the Weather Service just to get the latest information there. Last thing that we have is that the tornado warning does remain in effect for Early County, about 11 miles to the west of Donaldsonville, moving northeast slowly at 20 miles per hour. And so for now, the Weather Service is going to hang on to this tornado warning. So still good idea to remain in your tornado safe place in southern Early County and just be on guard in that northwest corner of Miller County. If it's raining right now in Miller County, that's going to be the area that this storm is going to continue to track through. So Colquitt should be all right. And then the eastern portion and the southern portion of Miller County will be in the clear for this particular storm cell, but there will be more to come. And then also looking upstream up into the eastern portion of Early County, south of Blakely, up into Damascus could be our next spot for this storm if it spins back up again. But already experiencing the heavy rainfall there in eastern Early County. And let's just take a look at the big picture. I'll tell you what, let me just zoom out so you can get an idea where we're looking at if you're just joining us and you're not familiar with Blakely and Early County and that part of southwest Georgia. It's just about as southwest as you can go. And one more county to go to the south down in Seminole, but this is southwest Georgia, and this is what we're looking at. And it's typically the south end of these lines of storms, these squall lines that move through, that can be the most dangerous. And that has a lot to do with the fact that you're just further south. You have a little bit more heat, a little bit more humidity, a little bit closer to the Gulf of Mexico. So you get that warmer and moist air moving in to feed these storms. And so we see it all the time here in Georgia with strong to severe storms toward the south and then a little more stable air toward the north. And that's what we're looking at this morning. So on the backside of that, you see a couple more tornado warnings, the red polygons in Alabama, and then we have another warning down into the Florida Panhandle. That just kind of gives us an idea of what's to come. So if those storms there moving toward Alpha, Florida, continue to hold together, that could head over Lake Seminole, head into Seminole County, possibly into Decatur County and Bainbridge. So just important to be on alert. That whole area under the tornado watch, we know that. That's been in effect since very, very early this morning. In the wee hours of this morning is when we had that watch issued. But knowing that these storms are really knocking on the door just gives you a little bit more time to get prepared. There was a tornado that touched down east of Montgomery, Alabama this morning, and that actually happened without a warning being issued. So some of these storms can spin up a tornado very, very quickly before a warning can even come out. So that's why it's important just to be weather aware and know that any of these storms could produce a tornado. So let's pop back and take a look at the velocity tool. Again, not seeing, let's see, we're looking right here. Let me see what that lines up with the reflectivity. Probably not a significant couplet right there. Really what we were looking at was this cell moving in the southern early, and it is flattened out a great bit. So not looking at a real high tornado risk right now. And we're going to just keep an eye on what they're thinking at the Weather Service. As soon as they give us the all clear, I'll let you know. But again, we still have quite a bit of thunderstorm activity, and some of those storms capable of producing tornadoes continuing to move our way over the next several hours and really won't be out of the state until later this afternoon. You can check out the video from this morning, a little after 6 o'clock, that I put together and see the modeling of when those storms are supposed to be moving across the state, and that's staying pretty consistent. The storms are moving a little ahead of the models, but not by much. So it does look like southeast Georgia will be bracing for this line of thunderstorm activity, mainly east of I-75, southeast Georgia this afternoon, and then we should be all clear by 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon. Everything should be out of here, other than possibly a little reorganization on the backside of the system that could pop up in over around Statesboro and down toward Vidalia. But again, you can see all that on the video that I put together this morning. Right now, we're concerned with the live coverage and the live activity going on, mainly there in southern Early County. We do have this tornado warning in effect until 9 o'clock, so set to go for another 15 minutes. But I would really be surprised if we didn't get this canceled a little bit earlier. So what the Weather Service is looking at right now, they're going to give it another couple of scans, and if it maintains the way it looks right now, they're going to cancel this early for Early County. But they are keeping an eye on those storms down to the southwest, and could be our next weather maker down into Jackson County, Florida. And this could potentially be another round of tornado warnings inside the state of Georgia. So we're going to keep an eye on that. The Weather Service is watching it closely, so we'll watch it together as well and just see what the next 1 or 2 scans look like, and maybe we can get this dropped. Let's go ahead and take a look at the big picture across the state of Georgia. Yep, a lot of activity going on. The main squall line right here. This is the main line that we're looking at. So right ahead of that is where we're going to be experiencing the gusty wind. We've had a few reports of hail, but mainly it's been the strong straight line winds, 60, 65 mile an hour wind gust. One of the small airports had a wind gust reading that was pretty much off the charts. I won't even repeat the number because it was high. It was in the triple digits, and I don't think that was accurate. But we could safely say they could have seen 70 mile an hour plus wind gust up in that was, I believe that was around Monticello. I have to go back and look at the notes, but it was in middle Georgia. It was in the Macon area, but it was so far off the charts it really didn't bear repeating. But we have had some very strong wind gusts move through as a part of this main line. And then on the backside, it's going to be the flooding concern. So this is just very moderate to heavy rain. It stretches all the way up now through Macon and then in the South Metro Atlanta. So flooding is our main concern on the backside. So we've got pretty much the triple threat going on. As the line moves through, it's going to be strong straight line winds. Within the line right here, we have the possibility of spin-up tornadoes. And then on the backside, it's going to be the flooding. So that's why we have a couple of flood warnings, actually 3 flood warnings in effect for North Georgia. one covering all of metro Atlanta. We have a flood warning in effect for Athens, down into Oconee County and Monroe, and then that other smaller polygon up in Stevens County, Toccoa. So a lot of activity going on here in the state of Georgia, and we're going to continue to track it. Been up late last night, early this morning, and we'll continue to keep you informed with the very latest. So back here with our live radar zoomed in close. I'll zoom out just to give you the big picture of what we're looking at. This is southwest Georgia, Early County. That's a county that contains Blakely, but the warning area is this southern portion of Early County. And I'm just looking at the velocity tool, and I'm not seeing any real concern at this point. But the Weather Service, I know they have a lot going on. They're watching a lot of different cells, and they would rather get the warnings out before they start canceling other warnings early. And I totally get that completely. That's what they should be doing, looking at where the threats are, not necessarily where the threats are coming to an end. But from our standpoint, it does look like southern Early County do have the heavy rain. That's going to be the concern, but the rotating storm is no longer a factor. There's a possibility that we may have had a brief EF0 or EF1 touchdown above Crosby, Alabama, and we'll wait around and see if we can get some information on that, if we have any storm reports coming out of Alabama. But as for right now, no word on that. I know that's a very rural area right there on the Houston-Early County line, so we may not even get any damage reports. So everything that we saw as far as any debris may just be exclusively on radar, but we'll keep an eye on that. The Weather Service has now canceled the tornado warning for Early County, so that's good. So like I was saying, they were going to give that a little bit of time just to watch it and see if it tightened back up again. That did not happen, so the tornado warning has been allowed to expire for Early County, and that's going to be it for the state of Georgia as far as any severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings. But we do just want to remind you, we have that tornado warning that was in Jackson County, Florida. It looks like portions of that will also expire as well, but that could be a weather maker moving in to extreme southwest Georgia. You see that red polygon there. So just going to keep an eye on that. Could be an issue heading into Seminole County, possibly Early County again, and Miller County, Donaldsonville. Just be on alert that you have another round of storms moving in that could potentially bring in some tornadoes. So we're going to go ahead and break off our live broadcast for right now, bring it back here live. If we have any more tornado warnings to talk about or any widespread severe thunderstorm warnings to take particular attention to. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing.